Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before we get started, all the housekeeping notes, all the dimensions, and all the product I used is listed below. There's a link to my online store if you wish to purchase any of these products. There's a link to our Facebook group. We'd love to have you join that. There's my email address if you have any questions. And finally, remember to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube and help me grow in YouTube world. Okay, today is part 2 of my series for the gift. Monday, we made our beautiful gift, and now we need a box for that gift. And if you did not watch Monday's video, I will show you what we made, so you may want to go back and look at that. Just one moment here. It's hard to get it in the screen, but it is a wall hanging. There's the top of it. The manger, and it tells the story. So in this box we're designing is for this. You can use for other things too. And as I said, this is part 2. Part 3 will be a card for this package. So we're going to be using Stars at Night. We're using one of the stamps out of here. We are going to be using a die and the embossing folder. And Joy of Noel is being brought in for one reason. I want the to and from. And so that's why we brought that one in. So let me show you what we're making. This is the box. It's a very simple little box, but it is sized to fit that project. Then we have a cute little tag, star tag here on the back. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and work on the base of the box. The base of the box is very vanilla. And you're going to, it's 8.5 by 8.5, so it's 8.5 square. And we are going to score this at 1 inch on all 4 sides. Like I said, this is a really, did I skip? No, I didn't. Very simple little box. Oop, I did skip that one. Boy. There. It's fine. The little skip won't show. And then you need a piece of Night of Navy, which is 8 by 8. And you're going to score this at 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to pull this down. And this is the lid. So we need to scoot this over just a hair, as we talked about before, just a hair, so you have enough gap to close the box. And we're going to score that 3/4, leave a little gap, 3/4, leave a little gap, 3/4, and one more time. That is all the scoring. We're going to take and fold and burnish all of our score lines. Like that. And then the lid. So what we need to do is we need to get our snips out, and we're going to cut up on the little square here and just wedge in a little bit on each side. Rotate it and do the next corner and just keep on going right around the little box there. And the next one. There's the base. I'll go ahead and do the lid too. It's exactly the same way. Just a little smaller square here. And that's all the scoring and trimming on those two. So let's go ahead and put the base together first. I'm using glue. You could use tear and tape or Seal Plus. You want something that's secure. Make sure you have a nice 90-degree angle on here. And we do have to hold it for just a minute. And around we go. So that is the base of our box. We'll set that off to the side for a second. Now this is the lid. And the lid needs a piece of paper. And this is this is the Shining Brightly, and this is a piece that's 6 by 6. And it's going to go right in here. And we're going to have, probably about a 1/2 inch on each side, roughly. You can put this on after. I just find it's easier to put this on before I glue it together, the tabs. But you do what you like. Try to get it as centered as possible. And then we'll do our tabs. These are tiny little tabs. Once again, get your 90-degree angles in there. And this one here. Make sure everybody's stuck. Okay, so we got, that's the top of our box. And it'll slide over just like that with no gapping around there. Okay, so that's the lid. So we also need our little tag. So we're going to make the tag. I got probably more very vanilla I need. You need a piece of gold and you need a piece of very vanilla. Or you don't want to go do the gold, you could skip the gold and use something else. We do have to use the big one because we're going to be using the embossing folder that I've buried over here on my desk. Grab my plates here. I need plate 1 and plate 4 because this is a 3D embossing folder. And I showed this on the first video, but we're going to do it again. This is the piece that has the Stampin' Up logo on it. This is the side. You just sort of lock this in place. Fits right in there, nice and snug. So I want to cut out this large star. So I've cut me a piece of gold that will fit inside of there. And then I'm going to flip this over and make sure nothing slipped, because this will, if you move it around, it will slip if you're not careful. So we're going to cut that one out. There's our beautiful gold star. And then we're going to turn around, get some extra pieces out of here. And Don't need extra stuff in your embossing folder. Take them out. Put this back in. There we go. Like I said, it hooks in, but it doesn't stay in there. I'm going to put a piece of Very Vanilla over this now, if I don't move anything. Flip it over and make sure everybody stayed in place. And pull this out. Now, if you wanted more stars, you could just cut a whole sheet, but I just needed this one here. And I wasn't supposed to use the embossing folder. I forgot. Don't run this piece through the embossing folder. You just want to cut the star out with no embossing. See, I even forgot what I was doing. Sorry about that. See, I'm human. I forget. We're going to put our plates 1, 2, 3. This, another plate 3, and cut this out. We want it flat. I can't write on it if it's not flat. I'll use that one for something else. Not going to waste it. It's a good star. That's a good thing I brought out extra paper. We want a flat star. Okay. That's all right. I make mistakes. Go ahead and laugh. It happens. I'm going to get this out of my way here. Okay. I do need a Stampin' Pierce mat, because both stamps we're going to be using are photopolymer. So what's going to happen is this will get glued onto this, just like that. But first we have to stamp it, because with all this raised, you can't stamp on it. So I grabbed 2 stamps. We grabbed the To and From Joy of Noel, and then from the stars, I grabbed this little stamp right here. So this is To and From, and we're gonna do that in Night of Navy. I'm just putting it right about there. And this is Crumb Cake. You could emboss this if you wanted, but I really I like how Crumb Cake looks on Very Vanilla. It looks almost like it is gold. And just going around here and getting some of the edges of the star here. That looks pretty good. I think I'll put one more. No, yeah, right there. Because they can still write on that, right over those little stars. And then we're going to glue this to this. I'm actually going to put the glue on this, on the gold piece. We're going to do this, then we're going to let it sit for a couple minutes while we are just line everybody up. Lines up really nice. Push that down, make sure it's starting to adhere. I need a little more glue right there at the top. I can tell it's not adhering. And the top piece, you really want to make sure it is adhered. And this is why we have to let this sit for a minute and dry before we punch our hole in that. But while we're waiting, we will do our ribbon. So it doesn't matter which way you go on this. Just make sure your ribbon is going the right direction. This is directional ribbon. I'm going to wrap it around. here. Not like that. Do this again. I guess I should have showed you before I tie the ribbon up. Here's our thing all folded up. I'm not going to leave him in here, but if you put the hanger going down and put some tissue paper in there, it fits in there really nicely. And like I said, I'm going to put tissue paper in mine. I'm just out of tissue paper at the moment, I discovered. It does fit in there really nicely. Thought I'd better show you that before I seal it up. I'm gonna try to cut that off. A little lopsided there. Trying to even my paper out, my ribbon out here. Pushing it towards me so I have something to press on. And tight. How in the world I got, let me try one more time. I do not know how I got my ends on one side. It just happened. And some of this gold will come off. I will tell you that. It's not much, but even your bow out a little bit. And you could actually just slide it on and off. Okay, so that's the ribbon part. Now we need to make the rest of this. So you're going to need a pierce mat. This is, I stamp all the time, but I use the corner here for backside for piercing. And you're going to need take your pick tool. If you have a small one like this, it's fine, but it's almost too small. So this your pick tool is the right size. Let's see if I can zoom this in so you can see where I'm doing this. There's this raised area right here. I'm coming just above that raised area. I'm going to press down. Yes, it will bend a little bit. But you push that through like that. And then you can just flatten it back out and it's fine. And then I'm going to grab, this is the Simply Elegant trim. This is the gold I'm going to use. Thread it through, and sometimes it threads through real easy. Now I'm going to grab my little one. Just got to get it started. I did this yesterday with no problem. There we go. Like I said, you can straighten that foil back up, but that's why it's important to let that glue dry for a few minutes before you try to do that. Okay, we're going to need a nice little piece here, about like that. We'll snip that off. Grab our box back, and we're just going to take this and go up and around this. Tie off a little knot, or drop the knot. Guess I should move this back out. Little ways anyhow. Don't drop the ribbon. Tie yourself a knot. As I've said, I'm all thumbs today. There. Like I said, I'm all thumbs. And pull it tight. And then you're just going to cut this off right above that. And if you don't want the knots showing, just sort of tuck it behind there, behind the ribbon there. And there is your to and from tag for your special gift. Just like that. Now I will get tissue paper and put that in there in my boxes before I load them up. So there is the box for our gift. And like I said, join me on Friday, and I have a card to match the package. So have a wonderful day, and I will see you on Friday. Goodbye.